VCR Redux will begin in T-5 minutes.
What the fart is VCR Redux?
It's the show where we take movies from the VCR era and bring them back to today.
How do we do that?
Well, we start by talking about a VHS classic, and usually you'll say something like,
I haven't been this uncomfortable since I watched Meatballs 4, Meatballs to the Rescue with my parents. Oh yeah, or you'll say something stupid like,
I wish we lived in a world where the Garbage Pail Kids made as many movies as the Muppets.
but I know you'll always see it through with a positive attitude.
I hate this movie, I hate being here, I hate all of this. Oh, Jamie Kennedy. Oh, well, shit. Well, let's go for this.
He was in Son of Mask. This is genius.
I am not a gamer. I'd rather read books. I'm just
Ian's like the old lady that's like, I got video game monsters, I got toy monsters in here.
As long as we respect the passion and the artistry that went into these films.
You know, obviously they took this movie, it's 93, right? You're like, what do you want to see in your Mario movie? And they're like, oh, we want it to be grim, we want a lot of death, we want tits and ass.
Oh, and then we start the pitch ideas with modern day sequels like
Weekend at Bernie's 3, Cocaine Mountain.
Sometimes we take it kind of seriously.
I'll watch a Paul Verhoeven alien movie.
oh my gosh, that alien will have more vaginas than anything you've ever seen in your life. Sometimes this Hawaiian shirted fool will pitch something stupid like,
I would take out the virtual reality stuff and just have it be about Jeff Fahey mowing the lawn.
Sometimes the best pitches come from the live chat.
Alex Bonafonte also pitches Grand Theft Starfighter Vice Galaxy.
wait, I thought I had the best pitches.
And what happens at the end of the movie? The ultimate fart. The fart that the warmth goes like all the way down to your socks.
The only rules are, there are no rules. Sometimes we cross over franchises.
Only the truck from Tango and Cash can kill Christine.
And sometimes we travel back in time.
Like 1995 is missing a good Universal Soldier sequel.
But you never know what we're gonna pitch next.
What do you want? Do you want Daniel Stern behind like a muzzled mask? Like,
We all know it should be Pesci behind the mask, and like underneath the mask, you should hear him going like fritter, 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 fritter.
you are so proud of yourself for that one. I can't stand you.
I would also love to see a Charles Bronson version of It's a Wonderful Life.
What?
Direct to DVD.
If you made a shot-for-shot remake of Scarface with Goofy as Al Pacino, it would be amazing. Nor she need me to be the bad guy.
It's like the worst 1987 Disney movie Disney's ever made. Schlongo, directed by Jim Wynorski.
Like, I would watch a whole bowl of that.
Do the John Holmes story. Add a comedy spin to it.
Wow, the Wonderland murders are so funny.
I'd watch it on my mobile.
Something happens and he goes into a coma. He gets like, hit by a car or something. I know this is dark, but like, bear with me. He's got to go on.
Did you just go like Hard to Kill with Ferris Bueller?
I'd watch it on my iPad.
If you want to just like throw in the kitchen sink, it all works. Like Alien versus Predator versus RoboCop, like if that works. Alien versus Predator versus Terminator, that works.
Alien versus Predator versus Ernest, that works.
That works.
I respect everything you just said. I need David Silver and Terry Silver and the Sloan family all learning the Quicksilver, but they're doing it in Breakin' 3 Hydraulic Boogaloo, and it's underwater. It's gonna be incredible. Eat your fucking shit out, James Cameron. I got the underwater movie you can't touch.
That was the most disgusting thing I've ever heard in my life.
Mr. Toxie Goes to Washington.
My ass would be in the theater tomorrow.
If Harley Quinn gets 7 movies, then Tank Girl should get at least 70.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of in my life.
I mean, why should we even bother with Look Who's Talking when Air Bud is soaring to new highs?
All I know is I want Danny McBride.
I'd want him doing anything other than writing Halloween movies, honestly. Anything that keeps him away from that fucking job, I'm for it.
Just let him talk out of his butt. I don't care how he does it.
I'd rather not.
Austin Powers doing the Macarena.
That would be the opening credits. Come on.
But we have not yet had Die Hard on a half pipe. What if John McClane Jr. was a pro skateboarder and also an avid machine gun enthusiast? Skater Die Hard.
What up, virtual people? Welcome to the 149th episode of VCR Redux. We take your favorite franchises out of the analog era and bring them back to 2024. I'm your host, pop culture punk Chris Stiles, joined as always by my co-host with the most, film professor Ian Klink, who is muted, I think.
Who is muted?
And we have two radical guests on the show tonight. First up, Crash Romeo, Honey Red,
What
Night
was
Lover
that
guitarist
for?
Steven Zangief Anderson is back on the show.
Hey, thank you. Good to be back.
And rounding out this righteous crew, he's a location scout whose work can be seen on Law and Order, Wu-Tang and American Saga, and Dead Ringers. Michael Ricci is back on the show.
Yo,
Yeah.
Tucker, man. I got introduced before to Ian. That's awesome.
Decked out in Celtics gear. I am cheering for Boston tonight. I hope you all are as well. But the further
hockey
point,
teams?
we are here today to celebrate the film that took Keanu Reeves from a time-traveling surfer bro and turned him into an FBI agent / skydiving surfer bro. That's right, folks. This world needs Point Break 2, and we're here to bring it to you. But before Ian tells Gary Busey to get 2 slices of gas station pizza, we got a dish on how Point Break came into our lives and what we love about it. And of course, that goes double for you at home and everyone watching the live chat. Was it Love at First Laserdisc, Vital VHS? Hit us up in the chat and let us know how Point Break came into your lives. So, Michael, do you remember the first time you got Point Breaked?
I do. And yeah, it was like a sleepover birthday party thing. And it was a couple years after it came out because I was young. So it was when I was like 10. It was like,
Oh, man.
what was that? 90 something. And then it was like cool. It was like a bunch of movies. So it was like this and Terminator 2 and like a bunch of other like hard R's that I couldn't have seen earlier, you know?
Oh, that's like the greatest hits of early 90s action entertainment right
Yeah,
there.
well, like right then, like 91 is like gold in general.
Oh, true,
or
yeah.
Whatever. And,
I consider, like the lost period of the 90s for me is really like 92 to 96. Those are the years that are just like, you could just fucking throw those years, most of them, down the drain. But like the 90s got really good again, like in 97, I think.
Yeah.
But that's another story
I
for
don't
another
know.
day.
I mean, the day this came out, it's up against Boys in the Hood and week 2 of T2. And like, you could have seen that. And then, so I get it like 2 years later when I'm like 10 years old, you know, when it's out on VHS. But like, yeah, to me, T2 was just pushing everything forward, and that was the biggest movie. But you still had things like Die Hard 2 and everything else that was out around this time that was similar.
Die Hard 2, Die Harder is such a movie that like on VHS in 90 and 91, like you
Just
really
that period,
enjoyed
just
it.
that period. Die Hard 2, Die Harder is such a movie.
Mic drop. Yeah.
It's just if you're, 6, 7 years old, it's 90, 91, you got the VHS tape, you loved the first one, you put it on, they give you the same tasting McNugget, and you think, this is great. And then you grow up and your heart dies, and you see the sadistic nature, the laziness that is Die Hard 2, Die Harder. And it's not without its great qualities. Like William Sadler doing naked Tai Chi in a fucking hotel room mirror is like amazing. That's cinema at its finest right there.
Like give
There's
it a
other
kiss
things.
and
Dennis
then a
Franz.
slap.
I don't know what's
you say
sadder.
It's good and then you say it's lazy.
I don't know what's sadder is that's the scene you point out, or the fact that by you pointing that out, I just realized that wasn't his apartment, that it was a hotel.
He was in a hotel.
Like,
That's cinema. Also, Dennis Franz, Fred Thompson. These guys are great. That's cinema to me. Dennis Franz is the most Chicago, New York guy in film history.
Yeah, but I love his explanation. Yeah. Nakatomi, 1988, John McClane, all the he goes through
It's
this
a
whole
Christmas movie.
Yeah, it's like he goes.
I
Through
got
this
everyone
whole...
from the fucking Cub Scouts to the Shriners Convention coming through here, but I just gotta shut
but he
this
goes through
down
this
for John
whole-
McClane.
He goes through this whole explanation of the first movie for Bob, who's sitting there who hasn't seen Die Hard 1. Like, he just goes through the whole story in like 2 sentences. It's great.
I love when you address Iowa, Bob.
Ian, what was your first time with this movie?
I gotta be honest, I came very late to Point Break. I didn't watch Point Break until probably a few years ago.
Wow.
What?
No,
Did you see her other movies first?
What, Catherine Bigelow?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I saw it Near Dark.
sure
I mean, I had the DVD of Near Dark.
Yeah, Near Dark. Yeah. I mean, her.
I have
Luck
not
is the
seen.
best one,
I have not
right?
seen The Loveless though. I really want to.
I want to
that's-
see Blue Steel really badly.
Oh,
Blue Steel,
so
I've
Chris,
seen. Blue Steel,
so Chris,
I saw.
I
but
did it. I did it. We talked about it. I did it.
Yeah.
Your boy Ron Silver is psycho, like whoa, like not like whoa.
He's
And
like
that
one of my
movie is
favorite actors
insane.
ever.
There's a lot of elements in Blue Steel that are here in Point Break. A lot of
man.
elements.
But I remember. I wish I knew what the VHS was that had the Point Break trailer. I saw the trailer for years, but I don't know what the VHS was.
You never took the plunge from the trailer?
No, I just I'll be honest.
Not a
there
lot
was
of
period-
surfing in Iowa, huh?
Well, it was just there was a period there where, just I wasn't into action. I wasn't into that stuff. It just didn't seem appealing. But I mean, I love it for what it is now. I mean, like it's great. It's a fantastic cop movie.
Did you see him in Speed like way before this? Like was that the first?
Oh
one
yeah,
you-
I had Speed in 1995 on VHS.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, like, so I had that, but there was just something about Point Break. It just never fell on the radar. But I remember it on some VHS. I wish I knew which one that was.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, historically, you missed a step, and this may explain a lot about you because Point Break is the crucial thing that takes you from Bill and Ted to Speed.
To Speed,
And like
yeah.
you don't get to the Matrix without going through Point Break and Speed.
But
And
First off,
there is a weird
go far,
movie
Chris,
that
because
he
there
did.
is a breaking point from that to this, and it's called Bram Stoker's Dracula.
God.
Okay.
Oh, Lord.
That's a good
Why-
point. Yeah.
When he married Winona, when they got married.
And how dare
You
and you
bring up
Chris?
things-
Chris? One of our
You're
first
the guy that farts
conversations-
in church and goes like this, like it was me, everyone.
That's right. But
Like,
first off,
why would you bring this
One of our
up?
first conversations ever was on Parenthood and your obsession with Parenthood. That's the first conversation
It's
you and
an
I
incredible
ever had.
movie. It's
So
an incredible
you're
film.
gonna,
Ron Howard's
you're gonna
best.
label like this as the Keanu Bridge point? Like, come on.
Well,
Yes,
look,
because in Parenthood he's still playing Ted Theodore Logan.
All right, I'll give you that.
all right,
I'll
we got to
give
get
you the
away
fact
from
you're saying.
Parenthood.
Yeah, we
but
gotta get away. We
I
gotta
would
get back to
say,
Point
I
Break.
would say Ian has a point in that this movie was going to a lot of other people before it got to Keanu, and he was trying to get into action with.
Well,
this.
Catherine Bigelow was also, I think, pushing for him.
Adamant for him. Yeah, they
Adamant for
wanted
him.
Johnny Depp. They asked
Yeah.
Matthew Broderick. They
Terrible.
Willem Dafoe.
Wow.
They asked everybody.
I
This
could
movie would have
see
been
it. I could see all that,
would have
yeah.
been so bad with Matthew Broderick. Anybody gonna believe that Matthew Broderick was a football player?
I would have bought it with
Honestly,
Johnny
though,
Depp.
if I have to watch one of those, I would watch the Willem Dafoe version. Like
I
Willem
would've
Dafoe.
I don't know. Maybe
I would have bought it with Johnny Depp and William Dafoe.
Right.
I would have bought that Point Break. I would have been okay with that.
Wait,
Oh,
we got
Willem
two of
Dafoe was the Patrick Swayze role. That's okay. I didn't.
Yeah, that's
I
what I'm
didn't
saying.
know.
Well, Swayze was originally Utah as well, and then he moved over.
I mean,
Oh,
smart move.
really?
I mean,
Oh,
they made
wow.
the best choice. But
And
I
she
would've-
puts Tom
Yeah.
Sizemore in everything for some reason. He's in Blue Steel. He's in.
Oh
like,
well, he
Drake.
was
he's
pretty
in
much
Saving
the,
Private Ryan. Like, come on.
he's
Yeah,
one of
but
the
she
greatest.
loves him. Like it's a trademark of hers to use him. It's kind of.
I don't blame her because I think he's one of the greatest gifts to like art that's ever happened. Like I just
You
think
would.
that man.
You
The
would.
movie Strange Days is the greatest gift to art.
That movie is
ever made.
pretty cool, actually. Like, if I had another sequel to pitch of hers, but I would want to know how Steve saw this first, and I got to
Yes,
kick it up a notch.
yes. So I gotta
Up
just
my
shout Tom
background.
Sizemore and Bringing Out the Dead as well.
Yes,
because that is
that movie's
perfection.
fantastic.
Okay.
Jeez.
Look at this.
Yeah.
Is
How did
Oh.
Steve get Point Break?
Well, quick question.
Yes.
Is Catherine Bigelow, then we brought it up, still in fucking director's jail? Or
No.
Did she
Why?
make no? Okay.
No, she's about to make a thing called Aurora that's based on a book that sounds a little tiny bit like Civil War, like tiny bit, like the lights go out and shit starts pop. Or you know that one that was just on Netflix with Mahershala Ali, The Last Thing, or like The Last. It was on Netflix. Anyways, not post-apocalyptic, but like the lights go out or something like that.
Gotcha.
And
Yeah,
it's
good, I
Aurora
like it,
because
yeah.
it's like is Aurora something from the sun, and it's Aurora, Illinois. So like immediate thought
Wow.
Wayne's World, but not.
Yeah, right. That's funny. I think I'd fall into Ian's category with this. I kind of overlooked it for a while. I didn't see it. I saw it when I was younger, but like initially when it first came out, I don't think I saw it for a while. And I kind of remember seeing it, and not thinking too much of it, but upon rewatching it, it's great. This movie's awesome.
Yeah, I love it. It's like one of my favorites, guys. It really
wonderful,
is.
yeah.
Obviously,
Oh,
I mean, I don't rock a background like this for stuff I hate, you know?
Right. Yeah.
So I will get to my first time in a sec. I do want to catch up to the live chat, though. I see Monica Thymon's in there, Dustin Nino from Retro Fiend Radio, Whiskey 41, the great Alex Bonafonte, Cobra Kai Never Dies, Gold's Code, Angie Saunders, the mashup genius, Caitlin Altman, America's Next Top Model, and Jeremy Ledford in the chat so far. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. Dustin Nino kicking it off with "I am an FBI agent," one of the best line readings of all time, folks. I don't care what anyone says. It sucks so good, and I love it, and you should all love it too.
You can quote this movie for weeks. It's so easy.
Oh my, with the weirdest quotes too, like Utah, get me too.
Yeah, get
me too becomes a quote. That's filmmaking, people. That is cinema.
When he brings his surfboard into the office, like he doesn't need to do that. He really doesn't.
This almost has like a canon movie feel to it. Like, we're gonna be the first movie about surfing bank robbers. You know?
Yeah, you're right. It does.
Like skydiving, surfing, bank robbers.
What a rapid category there.
Keanu was basically a quarterback. He plays a quarterback later in The Replacements. He like did train, and then all the training they did for this movie, everything training and specialized. They hired people to do the skydiving photography. They hired people to do the surfing photography. They all worked with trainers. Like Tank Girl had never surfed before. She's from Tennessee. How would she have surfed before? You know, and it all works out into like a great movie. But I have a question for Ian. Definitely, Ian, is this a movie or a film?
This is a movie.
See, for me, it's like a film. This is a director who's going to win an Oscar against her ex-husband later.
Which Zero Dark 30 is, and The Hurt Locker, those are films. But Point Break is a Point Break's
I guess it.
But it's
close. You got to admit it's close. It's close.
I think I'll say this. I'll say this is why
is Heat to me is a film.
No.
This is so
I
close
think I've
to
got
Heat.
it.
This is so
I know.
close.
That's what I'm saying. Like I don't know what makes it different.
This is better
Gary
than Heat.
Busey is the no. I'm kidding.
Yeah, well, Gary.
No.
Busey.
This is why Point Break. I just figured it out because we were talking about this during the pre-show. It just came to me. This is why Point Break is a film and not just a movie. It's a great movie nonetheless, but sometimes a movie can also be a film, and I think that is the case with Point Break. And the reason it's a film is because Point Break is the movie that Tony Scott tried for years and years and years to make and never really did, in my opinion. Like, he made big hit movies, but he wanted to make Point Break and he never did. Like, you look at Top Gun, you look at Beverly Hills Cop 2, you look at Days of Thunder, and you can see that Tony, even the Last Boy Scout, one of my all-time favorite movies ever. You can see that style that he has. He wanted to do what Catherine Bigelow did with this movie. And that's why Point Break is art.
And some would say Catherine and James Cameron, right? Because like he co-wrote it or something happened there with the writers.
He produced it. Right?
Yeah, but he's actually listed as co-writer too for some reason. Yeah.
Oh.
But it says it's like some weird thing with the Writers Guild. I don't know. But I mean,
who knows? It could have been to keep his like WGA insurance or something.
Yeah,
but there are some.
Weren't they a couple?
No, they were. Yeah, they were married for a few years. Yeah, and they made this film, and then they split up, and then later.
James Cameron's Rogues Gallery is pretty impressive. James Cameron was married to Gail Ann Hurd, Catherine Bigelow, and the great Linda Hamilton.
Hamilton.
Wow, good for you, James. Good for you, James Cameron. And I've heard that Linda Hamilton didn't even like him when she made the first Terminator movie. She thought he was a dick. So that's interesting.
He just got her in the submersible or something, and then it was all good.
There are some Point Break first story times in the chat. Dustin Inu from Retrofiend says, first time I saw Point Break was a summer rental on VHS in the 90s sometime. That was the summer of our lives, and we didn't even know it. I can wholeheartedly agree. He also hits you with a Ninja Nerd canon connection. The costume designer for Ninja 3, Revenge of the Ninja, Missing in Action was costume designer on this. Nancy Cohn, and she's the best. I can't disagree there.
Costume designer.
I love it. Guys, if you don't know, Retrofiend Radio, makers of the finest canon and martial arts docs on the internet, you have to follow them. Please go check them out, and you'll thank me later. Apparently, there are good pitches coming in, so I guess it's time for me to get
wait. I got one story for you. Oh yeah. No, Chris,
okay.
you do your.
So this is a fun one for me because I have a vivid memory of I could tell you like almost every detail about seeing Point Break for the first time because we met up with a friend. When I say we, myself, my brother Matt, and my mom met my mom's friend Donna and her kids for lunch at Chessie's Ice House. We're gonna go to the movies at Town and was it Town? Yeah, Town and Country Mall. It was the only movie theater in town back then. It was like 40 minutes away. So I'm gonna say in town. But I remember vividly our two moms talking about this movie before we go to see it because the one son Eric had already seen the movie and he's spoiling it all for us over lunch, right? Over my like cheeseburger and fries.
Spoiling the movie?
You know, he's ruining the whole movie. He's like, "Oh, Patrick Swayze dies."
Like what? Like
and blah,
what's
blah,
the
blah,
main
blah,
thing
you
he
know.
says?
Patrick Swayze dies, and then I remember
Terrible.
his mom cuts off. She goes, "Patrick Swayze dies? I don't want to see the movie if Patrick Swayze dies." And like the joke being like, "Oh, we all love Patrick Swayze so much." And
No,
like,
the real answer
that's why
is,
the mom
does
just
Gary
choked her out.
Busey die?
yeah, Gary Busey dies. I'm not going to see this trash.
I'm not going to see the dead
Gary
Gary
Busey
no
will
way.
never die.
Treasure.
Gary
We know he's
Busey.
a
But
treasure.
definitely, I mean, in real life, obviously, Patrick Swayze, R.I.P. But
Yeah.
they do say like he ripped a lot of cigarettes. He smoked like 60 cigarettes a day and whatever. So.
Damn. No.
But it was
we
like
never see, we
fake
never see the
reality.
body in this movie.
I
He must
know.
still be-
I know.
yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, apparently he had never skydived either, and they were like he was doing it a lot, and then they were going to make the movie. He's like, "Can you not do that for insurance reasons?" And then like at lunch, he would go jump and then come back. He's a madman. Like I can't imagine working on a movie where the lead actor goes and if to keep tabs on him, you would have to skydive with him. That's insane.
Yeah, man.
But they got some incredible shots though of him. Like,
Oh my
you
god,
know,
yeah.
So you guys
backwards,
went. You guys saw it
jumping,
anyway. You guys saw the
Ian,
movie
were you
anyway,
ever
right?
on MythBusters? No, you weren't on MythBusters.
I get told I look like that guy all the time.
I kind of just said that, yeah.
But I got to tell you guys this story.
Yeah.
So, I was just literally this evening. I was hanging out with my neighbor, in the backyard, and he asked about. I said, "Oh well, I gotta go do the show tonight." And he asked what movie we were doing. I said, "Point Break." He goes, "Oh, my mom's in that movie."
Oh no shit.
Where?
So in the
Is his
bank,
mom Lori Petty?
in the second bank or the last bank scene when Keanu Reeves he doesn't have the mask
And the
on.
cop, the undercover cop was there. Yeah.
There's this lady on the floor, this older lady on the floor who's wearing like a blue skirt, and he like steps over her. That's my neighbor's mom.
That's your neighbor's mom? That's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool.
What
She
a
lived
fun
in
movie to
LA
be
or
in.
something?
Yeah, she's
or
in LA. She does a lot of extra work. So she was in the movie Dave. She's a reporter in Dave. She's in Vice.
Oh,
She's in Curb
wow.
Your
You
Enthusiasm.
couldn't get her on the show? Come on.
I kind of want to. I like I said that, but yeah, she was in Point Break, so she's in that
Oh, that's
that second bank. So
That's
when he
incredible.
steps back, when he steps over a lady, that's my neighbor's mom.
That's
Wow.
incredible.
Huh.
My
Well, a couple.
was that?
Oh,
I have a random one of those. My wife's cousin, so like I don't know what that is to me, but his neighbor at one point was in Hostel, and so then they watched that movie and they're like, "Oh no, we don't like that movie."
That's a rough one to be in to tell people. Like, oh
Yeah,
yeah,
they just instantly watched it and they
It's a rough
they're
one to
church
have hors
going
d'oeuvres
folk, like,
over, and
Hey mom, check it out. I was in Hostel. Yeah.
Oh, they're harvesting them for organs. That's good for them.
Yeah.
I gotta say though, Point Break is interesting the way this movie aged for me. I think this movie may have aged like some fine exotic cheese that gets better. Like I don't want to say like it aged like wine or whiskey or something like that. Like it went through this period like where I loved it at first, but then I remember like a year or two later I was like, I'm over it. I don't need to like rewatch this movie ever. Like it was of its time. But then like you became nostalgic for that time and you uncorked this thing again and you could just taste the 1991. Like you can just you could just see the Gecko Hawaii t-shirts.
Well, the
you could just
action
see
sequences are so sick. There's technically
they
6
are.
of them if you count the football beach scene, which is where they filmed Karate Kid, by the way.
Oh, so that's a legendary beach.
You know what?
That's what I mean. Like this movie, the action scene, dude. When he jumps out of that plane with no chute, come on, that's Tom Cruise stuff that he does now, not then. Like, come on,
Chris.
This
I
one
think
that-
I think I know what it is because I've thought about this, and let me see if we're on the same wavelength. But like when I think of 1970s, I think of like New York City 1970s.
Okay.
Like when I think of 80s, I
French
think
Connection.
I think like you feel like you feel like Scarface, you think Miami, you think like Florida 80s, things like that. But there's something about the early 1990s and Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Like when you say 1992, I think of LA. I think it's because of Speed. I think it's because of Point Break. I think it's because of Terminator 2.
Rodney King.
The Kodak film that they all shot on at that moment.
Yeah.
And the smog that was in the air at that moment in LA.
Yeah,
I think of Lethal. I think of Lethal Weapon.
You're right.
I think
From Live and Die in
You know
LA
what? You know what,
to
Ian?
fucking Out for Justice.
I'll give you one more, and Chris is gonna love this. I saw this earlier today, and I gotta say a few things about basketball, but it relates to exactly what you're saying. On this day in 1991, the Lakers got a three-peat and won their third championship on this day in 1991. So there you go.
No, it couldn't have been
Here's
91.
LA. What?
The Bulls won in 91. It had to be 90.
Yeah. Maybe it was 90. They said 91, but maybe, I don't know, maybe it was the calendar year. But on top of that,
Lakers only got one three-peat. It was with Kobe. That would have been 2002, I think. Something like that.
And then Jerry West passed away today. That was pretty sad for LA.
Oh yeah, that is a very sad thing. I loved was it Jason Clark's portrayal of him on that
that
Time,
Lakers show,
which was incredible.
Yeah.
That show was amazing, and apparently not enough people watched it. I'm very sad it got canceled.
Yeah, they have Larry Bird on that show, definitely. Yeah.
But getting back to Point Break,
this movie falls into that pantheon of like hard R, action movies of that time.
Yeah,
that are all great. They're all absolutely great.
Oh yeah,
we don't really get.
Yeah, and the only times the action isn't good, it something happened. Like Anthony Kiedis, his role in this movie is a joke. He didn't show up to rehearsals, so the first fight, which is a cool fight, right on the beach, another action sequence with that like Jason Momoa looking guy. He gets hit in the face, first punch, he's down because he didn't show up to rehearsals, and Bigelow wanted rehearsals. And then what happens when they raid the house? He shoots himself in the foot immediately. He's out. Like that's it. He's the
that house raid is intense, man. That's a great part of this.
That is a great
that
scene.
Sequence with the lawnmower, like come on,
great.
It's Lawnmower Man 5. Like come on.
Yeah.
What's funny about this movie? I love about this. Rewatching it is Keanu. Every time Keanu tries to make fun of the surfer dude, like whatever, his voice, nothing changes.
It doesn't work. I know that's my only issue.
It's just him doing his fucking Keanu.
Busey's the only one when he's like, "Welcome to SeaWorld, kid," and he's like, "Burger Punk" or whatever. Like he's the only one cussing people out, and he's the one who has the theory about the surfers. Like that's the only time this movie turns is when he doesn't Utah doesn't realize that they have made him, and he should realize that. And then they come after Tyler.
Did everyone catch this last time around? Just how terrible at his job Johnny
Utah really
he's
the worst.
It's an unbelievably terrible FBI agent.
Except for that chase scene where they filmed at 35 millimeter. That
I'm
shit
just talking about like his ability
and all that stuff.
To go undercover to try to figure out if these surfers, he gets the wrong group first of all. Then they raid that place where they have another undercover there. They never.
Tom Sizemore is like, this was my bust. Like and then falling for Tyler. That's the worst thing you could have done.
Yeah, and he's hanging out with these criminals the entire time and doesn't realize. Yeah, he's awful. He's awful at his job.
The only time he's pretty good is by the end. When he's done skydiving, he gets in the van and then he immediately goes on a robbery. That's pretty wild. Like that. The only time I see that now.
That's not being good.
Baby Driver did that stuff.
It's been a while. I didn't get to watch it before this episode time, but it's Lori Petty, right?
Yeah.
Tank Girl. Buy Lori Petty. I did not buy Lori Petty.
Oh my God, Lori Petty.
I love Lori Petty. I mean, I love her. Like League of Their Own, Lori Petty.
Like Tank Girl, baby.
Free Willy.
She sold this one for me. She made me believe. And this and League of Their Own, Tank Girl, like it's the trinity of Lori Petty. She's fantastic in all of them.
Tank Girl, get out of here.
I don't know, man. Those are the three.
Previous episode on Tank Girl.
Yeah.
No, you know what I found out about her? Because I knew you were going to say this, and this isn't going to help, actually. She was originally cast in Demolition Man. And then Sandra Bullock got it instead.
Ooh, I think she was.
I was like, would that movie be different? Nah, it wouldn't be that.
Not really, no. I love
although the weird helmet sex scene is something I don't really want to see.
And the seashells and whatever. Yeah.
The horizontal mambo, the hunka chunka. It's my favorite Stallone quote ever.
The part I guess I don't buy in this movie a little bit is the part about like, oh, Bodhi's like, oh, this Buddhist, like Bodhisattva, whatever, Bodhi. And then it's like, oh, I got this guy who does all of my shit for me. You know, like, oh, I couldn't do this. She's my woman. But he's going to rip her toes off real quick, and that's fine.
Well, he plays like a spirit. It's weird. He goes from playing like a spiritual, like, you know, like I kick ass in Roadhouse, you know, kind of guy. Like, you know,
ripping
spiritually.
Yeah.
Yeah. To now,
Yeah,
like, you know,
we're
now
not
I rob
gonna be on that
banks and-
cement, paved cement funeral graveyard, whatever. The system that kills our spirit and this and
no,
that.
but I get what Steve's saying. Like he's supposed to be.
Yeah,
like,
you're right. He's a poet.
Yeah.
He's a poet at the beginning of the movie, and then
If
he's
he
a killer by the end.
didn't put on the mask, like he wouldn't be able to do the robberies. But because he puts it on, he's able to do it. And then when shit goes wrong, he kind of flails. And then they even say postscript in Mexico somewhere, the other dude's dead. The other dude died. The dude he drives away with. Like that was the only other thing. He had everything figured out. He had the video thing set up to hit play to show him Tyler. Then he had go immediately to the robbery. Then we get in the plane. Like, come on. This is not the way it was all.
Yeah, it's kind of the Dark Knight thing with the, speaking of heat, where the Joker has set up a plan that's like too ridiculous to like no one could ever plan something like that and have it all go,
No, you're right. Dark Knight was pretty wild. It's almost it suspends the disbelief. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna move the truck so the helicopter goes here, and then I'm gonna shut people in the building, and they shoot the X, and it ties up the chopper, and this thing, and we flip the truck, and God, like I
and
don't
then
know,
later
man.
I'm gonna have the switches
You
on
just
all
turn
the
the
boats
Joker
and all
into
the
Jackie
stuff.
Mason.
Well, no, but it's just like just because he says that, hey, they look like a guy with a plan,
Well, it is. They do have that moment when he's walking away from the hospital and it fritzes. I mean, that's pretty comical, I guess.
That is a
he's
good moment,
like the
yeah.
nurse, So
that's a good
that
moment.
one.
I can
My
do that.
only,
That's definitely a
I
good
will
moment.
say this: do you guys buy the ending?
No. This movie's ridiculous based on just on that, like on that part alone. Like,
No, you're right. It's ridiculous that Utah's still a cop, that he still has the badge, that
it
he's in
doesn't make any
Australia.
sense at all. No, it's yeah.
Here's why it works, folks. Because of acting, music, filmmaking, and 1990 motherfucking one. Like
Yeah,
that shit
1991 is
worked
a big factor of why this works. It does not
so
work
fucking hard.
otherwise.
Like you were like, hell yeah, that's some deep ass shit. I bet that's what it's like to be an FBI agent.
I was rewatching
you
this
totally- yeah.
yesterday. I was watching this yesterday, and that was the only part where I was like, I laughed out loud by myself, and I was like, no fucking way.
Well, yeah, I mean, well, Chris, you hit it. There's just one other moment in there. It's like if Keanu doesn't catch him and handcuff him, and he just goes out, then fine, I buy that.
Sure.
But then he handcuffs him and then lets him go to
Lets him
do
go,
it.
commit
It's like,
suicide.
nah, nah. But it was to have that monologue, right? They got to lock up so they talk it out.
So they can talk.
Yes. But like
Well-
the idea that the entire FBI is there and he's been chasing him for years and he has him and they all see that he has him and then he uncuffs him so that he can go kill himself is insane. Is
And then those cops do the Australian accent, like they're in Australia when they're really in Oregon.
yeah.
I love it. They're like, oh yeah, we're Australian. Yeah.
Well, it is perhaps possible that Keanu let Bodhi go, let Swayze go, just so we could speculate today on what a Point Break 2 could have been if Bodhi survives the storm.
Are we
If
going to
Bodhi
talk about
survives.
it? Are we going to
We're going to talk about it because it's time.
No,
and there
you
are
know what
pages.
you know what I'm going to bring up?
What are you going to bring up, sir?
Are we going to bring up the remake?
Oh, God, no. Why
Yeah, I
would
don't
you-
think so.
Oh,
No.
you know,
Again, you're like, you fart in church, and you're like, yeah, everybody,
Yeah.
that's the
I
onions and
just wanna make-
liverwurst.
hey, I'm playing by your rules. All right, you sawed us into this, so I'm just going.
If this was a wrestling match, you're the heel.
Yeah.
And that
I'm curious
makes Styles
though.
the hero.
It's a wrestling match.
The baby face, yeah.
Chris, real quick,
sitting
who
in
was
the-
who was in the remake? I never saw it and I don't know
Was it
anything about
Edgar Ramirez? Was the
I don't remember the name of the people, but the point of the
I think
remake
it was
was
Edgar Ramirez.
I saw the remake on fucking cable at work one night, and it was all
Okay.
about like, oh, we're doing wingsuit jumping and some real cliff diving, spelunking kind of shit.
It's like just extreme sports, whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
First of all, here's something that needs to be addressed. Just the fact they remade this. It is the most 1991 movie I've ever fucking seen in my life. So why would you remake this movie? Why would you it's like remaking Saturday Night Fever. Like disco's dead. Like
They
get on with
literally
it.
just
Like, make a
caught
new
lightning in a
fucking
bottle.
movie.
Like they just caught.
They just
and
did
they-
it. So
Also,
Captain,
surfing,
honestly, I'll
surfing
tell
does
you.
not have
I'll tell you,
Is not. Oh, sorry. Go
Blue
ahead.
Steel has the framework of this movie. It has the rookie cop. It has the going after somebody. It's really gritty New York City. It's a young Jamie Lee, so she's sexy instead of Lori Petty. Like, oh, the framework was already there. Like, Catherine Bigelow was working on making this movie, and then it kind of fit into this. And she fought for Keanu, and she got Gary Busey on the side, and Swayze got into it, and they figured it all out. And then they did
There
all
totally could have been
just
an
all
80s
fit.
version. I'm sorry to cut you off, but there totally could have been an 80s version of this movie where it's John Travolta and Jamie Lee Curtis instead of Lori Petty and Keanu. And I don't know who the Swayze would have been in that version, but it would have had to have been someone like a little bit older
That
than
movie,
Travolta.
Chris.
Like Robert Redford, you know?
Oh, God.
That movie is
Warren Beatty. Oh, Warren Beatty, yeah. It would have been Warren Beatty.
Yeah, I guess.
I give
that
you a
movie's
great
what?
line.
Well, what I don't understand is...
Sorry. What was the... Ian has a great line for that movie.
No,
Say it.
it's already passed. Although what I did say was...
It's already passed.
That was a perfect movie.
Oh, yeah. Well, perfect. Yeah, thank you. Nice. Dynamite.
Give me your
Dynamite dropping.
sympathy point finger crap. Forget you, Chris.
I love Perfect.
I love it.
I love Perfect. Any movie with Annie DeSalvo. Oh, my,
This
I
movie
love
is
her.
Movie with
surprisingly
Jamie Lee
way less
Curtis
to do.
in 80s, fitness outfit. Get out of here.
This movie has surprisingly way less to do with surfing than you would think, considering the title.
Well, that's
and like what
what
you
the
get out of it.
trailer is.
No,
all
they go surfing a
The
bunch.
trailer is
They
all
go surfing a
surfing.
bunch, but there's a lot more to it than that. Like you would think the trail, like you said, the trailer's all surfing.
All
The cover
surfing.
of it, is the two of them wet, like they'd been surfing.
I
Like, you
mean,
would
that's
think-
how he meets Tyler, and
No, I know, but like,
and
but there's just
they
a
do the
lot more
beach.
to it than just surfing. You would think this movie.
but the
would be
culture's there. The idea that they're
Yeah.
nomads and they follow the surf and they rob the banks.
Yeah. Oh,
that's
totally.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The interesting parts are there. They
You're,
didn't-
you're right. There's a lot of bank robbery
Yeah.
we don't see. We don't see them
Yeah.
assemble. We don't see the individuals. There's characters here. There's spinoff potential for for Jimmy Carter, for LBJ, for Richard Nixon.
I could have gone with a gun, a shootout on surfboards, or like a heist on surfboards or something.
Surf
a third
Nazis
act
Must Die.
race, down Devil's Backbone. But we didn't get any of those things. However, we did get some pitches in the live chat, so I
Nice.
do want to go to those here. Travis Mitchell has a pitch. His pitch: after throwing his badge, Johnny Utah is captured by a Chinese corporation. Memories of his past wiped, he begins to remember his old life as a cop. It's Johnny Utonic. Wow, Travis, well
Johnny
played, sir.
Utonic.
Johnny Utonic.
I want to pitch at some point the Keanu multiverse of films where they're all the same thing. Like, it's just different realities. Like in, Bill and Ted, where Ted goes to military school, becomes John Wick. That's that reality. And then
Well, he's making Constantine too. So in the underworld, maybe you can do that. Maybe that happens.
Oh God, I am gonna be there opening night for Constantine 2.
He said that's his favorite character. Like, he liked this a lot. He worked with Swayze before this. Have any of you guys seen this movie, Youngbloods? This like hockey movie.
Have I ever seen Youngblood?
I haven't
great
seen it.
Rob Lowe starring
I haven't seen
Youngblood.
it.
Oh, Cynthia Gibb, Ed Lauder. Youngblood is fantastic.
I mean, give me
You
the
got
L.
Swayze.
Give me the L. It's
Oh.
fine, you know?
First of
Back
all,
off,
one of
Chris.
the
We're not
greatest
even in the
soundtrack.
same vicinity, but you're getting too excited. Like, let's
For
relax.
Youngblood, is it not that good?
First of all,
Slapshot is
if you
better than
haven't-
Youngblood, right? Ian,
Oh,
help me out. right?
no.
Wait, what?
If you haven't heard the
I love
soundtrack,
Slapshot. I love Slapshot.
Oh, Slapshot's
forget
great.
that. Just for a minute, if you haven't heard the soundtrack to Youngblood, you haven't
That
lived.
LP
That's all I'm
is
gonna
pretty.
say.
I've heard the rapper Youngblood.
Mickey
That-
Thomas, Stand in the Fire.
Yeah.
We're talking.
Well,
white
so anyway,
hot heat.
I don't want to get us too far off track, but Youngblood is where he met Swayze in Canada, whatnot, and he could have played hockey, but he said, "No, I'm not playing hockey. I'm going to LA because I met Swayze." And then, Bigelow fought for him and all that. So, like, you kind of feel like Swayze helped Keanu out here, and this was a thing, and this movie might not have happened if Youngblood never happened.
People give
That's with the
Keanu
deep
Reeves a
history.
bad rap, and I appreciate there is now a Keanu.
Renaissance?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, but like,
Steve got it, yeah.
1990. Okay, like Dracula was a mistake. All right,
It was a bit of a mistake.
Why do you keep bringing that up?
Because I
It
love
was a
Dracula.
mistake
Because I
for
love
anyone.
Nobody will
Gary
ever
Busey.
let that go.
Not
Yeah.
Gary Busey.
I love Bram Stoker's Dracula, but like he was cast wrong in that. But like, and yeah, but he like, even Chris was saying earlier, like in Parenthood, he's doing the Bill thing. He's doing there's a lot of movies he was doing the Bill thing. but it was Speed, I think, that got him out of that trap.
Yes,
which was,
it
I would
definitely
say
was.
it's this. I would say it's this. He went
It
to
should have
train
been.
for
It
totally
should have
Hawaii.
been this.
Yeah.
But it should have been this. But Speed, I think, was technically like the.
He
the
made
more,
so much money, right?
Yeah.
It made so
I think a
much
lot. I think you were right though. Like this was up against a lot, and I think everybody's seen Point Break, but I don't think a lot of people took it, for what like how good
I think,
it was.
you know,
at
it's
the time. I
interesting.
don't think it gets the recognition that it should have at the time.
For me, it's like a top 15 action movie, and it really isn't for anybody else.
Yeah,
But it is
exactly.
for me. I don't
Yeah,
know.
no, I
So-
get it. I get it. I agree with you.
I feel like Keanu, it's interesting when you bring up Speed because I feel like Keanu and Sandy B both had to go through this period of the 90s to break through, where like Keanu had to do movies like, Johnny Mnemonic and like Chain Reaction and
Sandra
like
had to
they
do
all
Net.
probably did.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sandy B did the
Chain
Net
Reaction.
and yeah, she like
Chain
Hope Floats, Practical Magic, like all these movies that like they probably like all didn't cost that much and they all made enough to like keep the system happy and like keep it going and but for me the dessert of it all is movies like Point Break. Like I just love this movie. I'm kind of shocked that we didn't get the 90s version of this, but maybe we'll get to pitching that in just a bit. There are
I have questions there too, Chris, because they say the studio was thinking about it in '93 and then they just didn't do it. No one knows.
Well,
why.
maybe we'll get a time travel pitch in a sec, but there are
There
some
you
more in
go.
the chat. So I don't want to leave out the great show on Gold of Gold's Code. His pitch: after Bodie's death, Mitchell returns to LA to seek revenge on the man responsible, as Bodie was his surfing mentor. It's Bra versus Utah in Air Break. Wow, that might be the best one yet, honestly. I think that's the
actually kinda
ultimate
like the
airborne
title.
crossover.
Yeah, Air Break.
Air Break is fucking dude. That is it. That's the one. Air Break. Oh, it's so good, and you can
Some
spell
reason,
it like
the title makes me think of those jetpack things you can wear now that you launch up in the water. That like Danny
those, like,
McBride did.
hydro jetpacks.
Yeah.
Those things are crazy. Look, yeah.
You can like do it in Florida and places, where like it's like a jetpack, but it's like water.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
you could start the spelling like like the way Point Break is, but then move it so it's like a car brake, BRAKE or something. There's a lot of funny ways you could do the air brake.
Callahan Auto Parts.
Oh gosh, yeah. Don't get me started on Tommy Boy. Another movie we actually kind of need to do on VCR at some point. But another pitch in the live chat. Travis Mitchell's pitch. Johnny teaches skydiving lessons, meeting 5 teenagers with attitude. The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Bodie is revealed to be alive, captured by the turbo villain Divatox or Divatox. I don't know if I said that right. I apologize.
Power Rangers.
You should apologize.
There's some Keanu love in the chat from Andrew Saunders as well. The Mashup Genius. So that's about it for the live chat. There was a little bit more to one of the pitches back there, but some Constantine love, Die Hard love. So obviously you could do a prequel. I'm still not convinced Bodie dies. I'm like the one person that sees this and I'm like, yep, Bodie lived. Bodie definitely
Not
lived.
any movie, if you don't see someone die, then
Right? You don't see them die. They're alive.
That's
And even
Eddie
if you
Wilson.
do,
Yeah.
in the Scream movies, people get cut in half and they live.
Yeah, that's right. No one can die in those movies.
Tony Cox
Honestly-
gets so messed up over those movies. It makes no sense.
I would love a movie about Bodie just trying to live the quiet life in Wisconsin somewhere under a different name. And something happens, some action-packed shit happens. He's gonna reveal himself, but no, he goes back and it's like Eddie and the Cruisers 2, but done in the way so that Ian would love it because Ian hates Eddie and the Cruisers 2. So
yes,
well, it is your most popular episode, so
Bodie and the Cruisers. That's honestly, I would.
Bodie,
love
that sounds good, actually. Bodie and the
Eddie and the
Cruisers.
Cruisers 2 is probably one of the worst movies ever.
What's that? I can't. Did someone mute Ian? I can't.
Could it
hear
be
him. I
like
don't know what
Eddie and the
happened.
Bodies or something like that?
No, I mean, if you think about it, when the crew that Utah meets basically is Bodie and the Cruisers, anyways.
Yeah. Okay.
Like who's the top henchman in that
There-
crew? Like you got like blonde guy here and like longer hair blonde guy.
Danny Trejo.
There's,
I don't
see,
know.
that's kind of a cool premise, though, if you think about it.
It's like,
Do you take the Eddie and the Cruisers approach, the 2 timelines in one movie? There's something you could do with that in Point Break.
That's interesting. Could you? I mean, but like a de-aged Keanu going back and.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, like,
Yeah,
truthfully,
yeah.
because
What, him as the football player or something? And he blows
like,
out his knee?
imagine like FBI agent Keanu Reeves now, is handling a case that.
Well,
is
I have a
connected-
pitch for that. So I could do that.
Oh, well,
Let's hear it.
sure.
So here we go. So Utah has become a pro surfer and private eye. Surfers are turning up dead in a new tournament from like drugs on the street, or we don't know. So he must go undercover again to find the drug dealers and killers. He obviously like falls in love again. Maybe as a kid from Tank Girl previously. Is like really down on his luck, right? We're in the guts of the number 2 of 3 probably to like complete the trilogy. I was even thinking somewhere maybe like Busey makes an appearance, but like in flashbacks or like in dream sequences or whatever. And like maybe Jake Busey shows up. And then we go from there, like with his kid and he's in trouble or something. And then, you know, he gets on the drugs, he gets clean of drugs. And, you know, he fucks it up because he's a terrible cop. We see that.
Yeah, because he's terrible. Yeah.
And if he messed it up with Tyler after this, he doesn't deserve anything good, you know? Unless he has a pile of, a pile of this.
Yeah.
I mean, how big is surfing? I mean, surfing is still around, but I
Dude,
mean,
surfing is going to be in the Olympics. It's huge.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, but is surfing an international thing yet?
Wait. Let's just frame this for
yes.
our viewers, okay? The person asking these questions is from Iowa and lives in
Right.
Pennsylvania.
I'm
So,
aware. Like,
so
nobody
you know,
accused
not the
me of being-
worldliest fella, you know?
You know,
Surfing, I
had
think
to be-
surfing is bigger more internationally than it is here. Ian. I think
Yes.
it is.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Like,
It's
because
in the
I like
Olympics.
the idea of him, like, if we took that idea of a Keanu more like internationally dealing with this again,
Mhm.
like
Mission Impossible style or something, yeah.
Well, like I was just how like is this sounds dumb.
He's already in Australia at the end of the movie, right?
Well,
He
that's what I'm
flips
saying.
over
Like,
to New
there's
Zealand.
something of like him going to Sydney and
Yeah.
but like
Fighting a shark.
what's a remember a few years back there was this cop series. It was like 1992 or something like Fox or something like that, or it was
Could
on
you
a
be more
Netflix-
vague and like erratic about that
Oh, you
information?
can kiss my
It's kind of
butt.
like 1995.
There was something on Netflix where it was like there was 3 different like TV movies, and it was like one was in like the 80s, one was in the 90s.
Oh, the Fear Street. They
Well,
did
that was a
Fear
horror one.
Street,
Yeah, I mean, they kinda do something
1986,
like that, but there-
1996. Yeah.
There was one that was a cop drama that was like British one, but there's something that would be very interesting of connecting the cases, and like I said, using this DH technology. I want to see young Keanu. Like I want to see, but having young Keanu and having older Keanu like doing the same storyline, but like somehow it's connected from like
Yeah,
because that's the thing. Like
Interesting.
there was the remake and it just didn't work, and I think the reason it didn't work is because there's no Keanu. Like
what if we saw in a
Well-
movie like that? What if we saw him taking on something, but he keeps going back to his younger DH self, but that it was in between the parts of this movie that we never saw. Like there's a lot of this movie that kind of
So
The
here's the
actual
here,
bank
let me
robberies,
add
like the
let me add a
planning
wrinkle.
of the bank robberies, yeah.
Let me add a wrinkle to this all, right?
Right.
What if, and again, like we kind of said, Bodhi had faked his death and he survives. So you're kind of, instead of doing Eddie and the Cruisers 2, which Ian hates, you're doing Eddie and the Cruisers 1 as Point Break 2. That like he's, you know, it's so the old Keanu is the fake part. Instead of de-aging him now, like if you had made it back then in 92, 93, so the old Keanu would have been him in old age makeup or like grayed out his hair or something. And like the way they did shit back then, you know, and like that, like Young Guns 2 style, you know, so you're getting like old Keanu of the future reflecting or something. I don't know that there's a movie there though, I think. And
yeah, I mean that's.
I
Well,
love
that's
the
why-
Eddie
that's why-
Cruiser's nature, but there is a pitch I do want to.
I like
before
that
I
Jake
forget,
Busey connection. I do
I
like.
did too.
well,
I like that
speaking
too.
of that, there's a pitch. Speaking of that, there's a pitch I got on Instagram for some reason from Alex Bonafonte, but it's not in the chat, so I don't want to leave it out because it's a good pitch. But his pitch it takes place in 2010. Johnny Utah still surfs every day and earns his cash as a firearms instructor with his partner, discharged ex-Marine John Bernthal. Over the years, Utah would send cash to Pappas' estranged son, Jake Busey, who was in and out of juvie growing up. One day, Utah spots a vaguely recognizable homeless woman, Lori Petty. She lost her home during the subprime mortgage
gosh.
crisis.
No.
So, you know, They try and reconnect at a diner when suddenly the place is robbed by desperate Jake Busey. Foot chase ensues. Utah catches him, offers harbor. Firing range is also forced to close due to many U.S. troops being deployed. The four desperate, if I don't want to mess this up here. Now all four are desperate. Okay. So, yeah, basically they want to gain access to take over the lender's New York City headquarters, base jump off the roof, and escape in the CEO's private jet. So I think it's a little bit of a movie with something to say there. But it's an interesting pitch, and Alex Bonifati took his time on it. So
I do love that they also talked about Jake Busey, and I did also think perfect opportunity for the sequel to be Tom Sizemore getting revenge on Keanu for messing up his boss.
That's it.
Tom Sizemore gets murdered in the second one for sure. Yeah.
Oh, Tom Sizemore's
you
the villain.
definitely got to bring Tom
He turns heel.
Sizemore back. Yeah.
One thing that I'm kind of
that's it.
I didn't know if I was going to talk about this, but hearing everything
Bodhi, him and Bodhi have to team up to take down Sizemore. That's fucking great.
Sizemore's big. Yeah.
That's good.
And then, but just that it's sort of widely known that Fast and Furious has ripped this movie off entirely.
There's a lot of talk about that in the chat. Yes.
So I just want to recognize that like we're pitching and all that, but truth be told, Fast and Furious robbed this movie of any chance of doing more of this movie because they literally filmed at locations that Point Break was at, used storylines that they have. Yeah. And the thing you just said about base jumping off a roof and getting in the CEO's chat is Fast and Furious, right? You just do it with a car. That's all.
Oh, that may be the joke. That
you basically take Point Break and you say, do it with a car instead of anything else. And that's Fast and
Which is probably how they pitched it. That's how they pitched it. I mean, really.
Oh, 100% they pitched it that way.
We could pitch that until we're blue in the face. Yeah.
That's what you do to executives. You say it's Point Break with cars. It's blah, blah, blah.
That's what it was.
Actually,
that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. And they
just got lazy.
But that's what, honestly, that's when like pitches work on this show too. You give the general gist, like, give me Point Break, the gay musical, and then people are like, okay, I can see that. You do like this, and that, or whatever. And,
that's different.
Hey, I would watch a version of Point Break in drag. Like that would be fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see Tu Wong Fu being an action movie.
You got the Swayze connection right there.
Point.
Yeah. Oh, it's all connected. So Tu Wong Fu is a bunch of fucking bank robbers hiding out in this clan, in this fucking group.
And they gotta go undercover.
It's some like hot that shit, dude. This could be fucking amazing.
Whoa.
Yes, Keanu. That's the third film. That's Point Break 3.
Oh, that's good. That's good. And then what? Yeah. Gary Busey's ghost shows up, and it's Ghost 2. There you go. Done.
Oof. We're doing it, 90s. We're doing it all. We're doing it.
Point Break 2, Ghost Dad.
Oh, man. Making all the hits.
There died.
Oh, gosh. No, it didn't die. It was just given a whole
I feel like that's the only way I can go there. I won't mention the guy's name. I just throw out the 2 words, and then it's
all right.
Ghost Dad. Next time,
just for a palate cleanser, what if this truly was a Canon Films affair? And it was Michael Dudikoff and Steve James playing Bodhi. Like, come on. You can't tell me you wouldn't watch it. Like, I would so watch it. And Louis Gossett would have been Michael Dudikoff's partner. He would have been the Busey role.
Oh, my God. Louis Gossett Jr. would have been... No, it would have been... Honestly, it would have been Jean-Claude Van Damme and Michael Dudikoff. That would have been amazing.
Very good, sir.
Oh, honestly, yeah. That's the one.
Grab Steven Seagal for a cameo and get Under Siege.
Oof.
Oh, you'd have been
Seagal. I'm surprised we didn't get a Seagal pitch.
We probably will. We should. I'm glad I opened up that can.
Yeah.
No, I mean that would have been cool.
I'd love to see Steven Seagal try to get.
I like this.
Oh my God, that would have been incredible. Oh God, him slap fighting the waves.
Does this movie rank higher for you for Keanu or for Swayze?
It's rough because they're both great.
No, just in general. Like for me, it's pretty high on both, and maybe number one.
It's so high on both that it's pointless to say it's more Swayze or Keanu or anything. Like honestly, this and Youngblood, they're both so high on both that when they get together, it's magic. So I just loved what you said about Youngblood.
Well, what's your favorite Keanu? Matrix? I mean, it's kind of Matrix, right? Like,
I mean, it's kind of got.
I mean, it's Bill and Ted. I think it's Bill and Ted.
Really?
3 was I mean,
great.
Come on, the meaning of life. 3 sucks, but whatever.
Ian, I know what Ian said about 3, so I'll just leave it there. Yeah.
The meaning of life is, be excellent to each other and party on, dude. So
but then it was the kids. All that is it's the kids. Like, come on.
Oh, the kids were
The
dumb.
Bogus Journey is so good. I forget.
My issue with Bill and Ted 3 was
we all know
they saved William Sadler for like the very end. It's like he should have been in the whole movie. Like death is the best part of that.
Honestly,
they should have
George
opened
Carlin
up
was my
with
favorite
the
part.
Grim Reaper doing naked Tai Chi, and it's
Yeah,
hotel
no,
room.
it's good.
That would have been
His hotel
fucking a
room.
hit.
Station.
My favorite. I hate saying it, but
Yeah,
my favorite,
honestly, they should have brought Station back too.
my favorite.
Own show. Station has its own show.
My favorite Keanu is actually "I Love You to Death." So I can't.
What?
Have you guys ever seen that?
You're always making shit up, dude.
Yeah.
No, this is Lawrence Kasdan with a. It is a cast with Kevin Kline, Tracy Ullman,
Wow.
Bill Hurt, the
Ian
great
has to be
legendary
like,
Bill Hurt, and Keanu
My
Reeves.
favorite
I
Keanu
have
was
no
the night
idea.
before with Lori Loughlin because no one saw it, and I like that.
I've never seen The Night
That's a
Before.
gr-
I gotta be honest.
Yeah.
Oh wow, I'm actually kind
Oh
sounds like
yeah,
a great
that's that
cast,
like date movie one, right? Where he's basically Bill the whole time, or Ted the whole time.
It's one of those like crazy wild night that happened last night. We're trying
Yeah.
to remember, we're trying to put it all
It was
together.
about last
but-
night.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah,
Um,
they wanted to call it that, and then they couldn't. So then it.
But Swayze, it's always gonna be Roadhouse. I'm sorry, like that. That's,
Really?
That's
Really?
Swayze to me.
Roadhouse?
Yeah,
I like
man.
everything.
What about
man. I
that
like-
remake? I heard that was terrible.
Yeah,
This might be my
no,
favorite Swayze
you know what?
movie. Honestly,
It
this
honestly
really might be
wasn't-
the one.
It honestly wasn't that bad. It was actually pretty entertaining. Like I watched it randomly one night. I was kind of like, fuck it, it's sitting there on streaming, it's whatever. Like, whatever. Like Jake Gyllenhaal, he does a great job in it. It's not the same. It's not the same, but it's an interesting. It's not a bad remake. It really.
Yeah,
isn't.
it's not as
hard
bad as
remakes.
this remake. I don't
I
think.
very much doubt it.
I don't
Yeah.
acknowledge this. I mean, there's
You asked
once
about it
again,
earlier. What are
I
you
give
talking-
filmmakers all the credit. It takes a miracle to make a movie. It's just this was one that just did. My issue with the remake is there wasn't a built-in audience for Point Break. I think somebody said it earlier. One of you three said it earlier. Point Break is a movie that everybody's seen, but they don't realize they've seen it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Exactly.
that's
yeah.
an interesting point.
And
I
it's-
don't know.
and it's
I
like,
don't
if
think
you're a
anyone
fan-
said that, but
Like,
I think it's
Somebody
part
said-
of what we
one of
said
you said it,
before.
but it's like
I think you're
Point Break-
paraphrasing a couple things that different people said.
Point
Honestly.
yeah, I mean,
Break
we-
has an audience. Point Break to me is more of a cult. Like,
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
yes,
Interesting.
definitely.
Well,
I
I
mean,
there's
don't
one-
put it.
No,
in the
you're
action.
right. It's the surfing culture for sure. And to
Yeah.
be fair, this movie didn't start in an authentic way. I guess originally it was about skateboarding. It was just about getting some extreme sport with some writer came up with it on a beach. He saw a headline. He was like, "What if I combine these two things?" You know.
Yeah.
And other movies tried.
from there,
Gleaming the
but
Cube
it did-
tried, but Point Break is the successful one. It's the
It is.
one that
It is.
combined the
Yes.
things in a great way, and it's
Yes.
part of our history.
I
we'll
agree
never
with
forget
Chris,
Point Break.
and that is rare.
That's why it's art. But there's another pitch from Angie Sandy. Angie Saunders, the great mashup genius.
Candy Sandy.
Angie
Oh,
Sandy.
talk
Andy
amongst
Saunders
yourselves.
says her pitch: Utah finds out Brody had a son or a daughter. Utah tries to protect them from another gang of thieves who are convinced he/her has all his money he has robbed over the years. That's actually really interesting. I like that.
That is
Oh,
good.
another one as
Yeah.
well. Angie hitting you with a double dose. She just came in. Utah tries to be good but turns bad and robs banks and surfs and ends up going insane and ends up in jail. That's a dark
Well,
pitch, but I would
That's a
watch
dark
that
one.
too.
Yeah.
Why not? The Chained Heat with Utah behind
Chained
bars.
Heat,
Like,
yeah, there's a
That's
real
a great-
audience for chained heat nowadays.
That is
I
a
love
perfect
Chained
way to
Heat.
bring Jake Busey, who's fantastic, into this,
yeah, no,
potential
it's
franchise.
good. I like how they
Yeah.
said or
He
daughter.
would definitely be
Yeah,
the
it's true,
weird, corrupt guard at the prison. Like, there's no way Busey plays anyone else other than that. Like, I'm the shady guard who, helps you
The
run. numbers
daughter
and
could
sell
be like
drugs.
Ronda Rousey or someone who could just kick ass, like
That's
as
Yeah,
a-
we're getting into the next generation. That's not so bad. It's not so bad. Well, I think honestly we put a couple things on the table today that would definitely have been watchable. I of course would have loved all the versions where you could have had a living.
Although it
Swayze
will
in
be
it.
fascinating to think that the presidents for this one, if there was a sequel now, it would be it'd be Trump.
Oh yeah, the
Oof,
ex-president.
Biden,
No, don't
Trump.
do it. Don't do it.
It'd be
Don't
Biden,
do it.
Trump, Obama,
Obama.
and Bush.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
wouldn't though. Not if they get voted. If he gets voted, he's not an X anymore, so it doesn't work. And by the way, did you know these guys die in order in the movie? They die.
Ooh, of why they died in real life.
I learned that the other day. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
I thought that was dope. I thought that
Well,
was
Reagan
like,
hadn't even been.
Yeah.
Reagan wasn't even fucking dead yet, so that's
no,
interesting.
yeah, I know, but
And it was
now they
Carter,
have,
yeah.
and you can actually learn some American history by watching this movie. You know,
Wow.
Well, this movie's got it all, folks. It's got
more
surfing.
you
It's
know.
got fucking
Bonnie and
sex
Clyde.
wax. It's got it's got Robin Banks skydiving, Lori
Give me
Petty.
2, Utah. I want 2.
Terrible police work.
Great
Terrible
Busey,
police,
Anthony Kiedis,
except for
yeah,
Gary
bad
Busey.
copping.
He has the theory that they're surfers. He has
He
the
does have the theory. Yeah, he does figure. Yeah,
Busey saves
Gary
the day
Busey
again.
has a lot of theories.
yeah, right.
Well,
this one just
before
turned
we-
out to be right.
Before we get into those theories, we are running out of time. So, do you guys have anything coming up in the works you want to let the home audience know about? Ian, I believe you just published what, The Night of a Thousand Cats?
Yeah. So B movie article that was published was Night of a Thousand Cats. Coming up soon will be B movie challenge for Attack of the Giant Leeches, the Roger Corman class. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
But Roger Corman classic. But I do have some fun, exciting news. On June 23rd, my book is going to be out for release from Newfangled Press. So that'll be the street date. So
That's awesome.
you
Congrats,
know,
man.
Thank you.
Yeah, hell
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
great, man.
Very nicely done. Does that get you tenure as well?
No,
Oh, that'll help.
no.
What's the title? Do you have a title for the home audience?
Lucky?
Lucky.
Yeah, Lucky is the
Alright.
book. Lucky by Ian Klink.
Nice.
And I believe you can be able to get this everywhere books are sold, folks.
Yes.
So don't miss
Mhm.
your chance to get a copy today. Michael, got anything going on in your corner of the world?
Not too much. Just this organization, Rooftop Films. If you're in New York at all, they're a nonprofit. They're doing all these film screenings. I've been to a few. I went to the anniversary one for Napoleon Dynamite. It was pretty cool. If you happen to be in the city, and I'm probably doing some work with them. So just wanted to shout out to them as a nonprofit doing artistic, fun stuff. You know, where you can see movies. And I forget what it is. It's a bunch of movies from, I think it was 20th or something, that all have anniversaries now. It's like Napoleon, Little Miss Sunshine, But I'm a Cheerleader, like all those. I think it's all Searchlight.
Oh, wow.
I forget. But
Oh, wow. Searchlight movies? That's great, man.
Yeah,
This is
and
the
then they
Slums
have
of
some
Beverly
kind of
Hills. I'm
partnership-
there.
yeah, and then they have some kind of partnership with AMC and all the movies they have access to. And they have really cool locations. Like I said, New York City, but if you come into town, hit us up, let us know. We'll help you find out. And
They
Ian,
do the Beverly Hillbillies anniversary. I'll be there.
Yes.
Steve, anything going on in Crash Romeo Land
Oh,
these
I
days?
got nothing going on. Well, maybe actually. But I'll be in a future episode and talk about that.
All right. Sorry to
something to talk
blow the
about.
lid off things there. But I guess then it's time for me to say that you fandom fans might want to tune in next Wednesday at 9 p.m. when Ian teaches us all how to survive war by becoming war for our Rambo episode. That's right. We couldn't think of a better way to celebrate our 150th sequel than by taking you all back to the Stallone zone. As always, if you enjoyed this video, the best way to help is to smash that like button and leave a comment telling us what movie or TV franchise that you want us to cover on a future episode of VCR Redux. And since you're already doing that, you might as well go ahead and like, subscribe, and follow Fandom Spotlight, Crash Romeo, and Pop Culture Punk. Till then, back up those Betamax, rewind those Laserdiscs, and we'll see you at the movies.
F.